Hello and welcome to Sew with Christine. In today's tutorial, you will learn how to make this two-step gathers gown with front twist. So if this is what you're interested in watching, do watch this video to the end. Do not forget to subscribe, like and share this video. For the drafting of this gown, I'm going to mark out my starting point here. So I'm just going to rule like a 0.5 inch line. From this line, I'm going to take down the bust point measurements, the under bust measurements, the waist measurements, the hip line measurements, and the under boot measurements. After marking down all these points, I'll go ahead and rule straight lines over each of the marked areas. From the center front on my starting line, I'm going to mark the half shoulder width measurements, which is 7 inches. Then from that point, I'll come down by 1 inch for the shoulder slope. From the center front, I'm also going to mark down the neck width, which is 3 inches. Then I'm going to connect from the shoulder slope to the neckline. I'll take the measurement from the neckline to the end of the shoulder, which is 4 inches. And I'm going to take that same measurement on this slanted line and mark 4 inches there. From the shoulder slope, I'm going to come down by 7 inches for the armhole depth. Then from the center front here, I'm going to measure the half shoulder width. Next, I'm going to connect all the points together. Now this line is the armhole depth line. I'm going to take the measurements from the starting point line to where the armhole depth line ends, and I'm going to mark my result here. Next, I'm going to connect these points together. This new line here is called the chest line. I'll just go ahead and label all of these lines. I'll divide the armhole depth line by 2, and I'm going to mark that at the midpoint there. From the midpoint, I'll go inward by 0.5 inch. Then on the chest line, I'll take down the quarter bust measurement. Then I'm going to draw the armhole curve using my curve ruler, connecting these 3 points together. On the under bust line, I'll take the quarter under bust measurements. On the waistline, I'll take the quarter waist measurements. On the hip line, I'm going to take the quarter hip measurements. Then under the boot line, I'll take the quarter under boot measurements. Starting from the quarter bust measurements, I'm going to draw the shape of this basic bodice block. First off, I'm going to make use of my ruler like so. Afterwards, I'm going to use a free hand to draw this curve. And I will use my curve ruler to highlight the areas that I have drawn. From the center front, I'm going to mark the bust span measurements. The bust span measurement is 3.5 inches. So I'm going to mark this from the chest line down to the under boot line. Once I'm done marking this, I'll go ahead and connect the points using a straight line. Once that is done, I'm going to draw a circle using 3.5 inches as the radius. So I'll go ahead and mark 3.5 inches, ensuring that the bust point is the center of the circle. You can make use of a compass or you can just make use of a freehand like this. Next, I'll go ahead and highlight my circle. Coming to the armhole, at the midpoint there, I'm going to come down by 1 inch. I'm going to be drafting a dart here. So from the midpoint, I'm going to draw a line to meet at the bust point. Then from the 1 inch, I'm also going to draw a line to meet at the bust point. Then from this bust point line at the side area, I will come down by 2 inches. This is the bust dart. Then I'm going to rule a line to meet at the bust point center. From the end of the shoulder, I'm going to go in by 1 inch. This is for the shoulder strap. From that 1 inch, I'm going to rule a straight line downward to meet with the bust point line. Then coming to this area, I'm going to measure 1 inch upward. From these marked areas, I'm going to connect straight lines down to meet at the center of the circle. This is another dart that I'll be making use of. Afterwards, I'm going to reconnect the overbust this way, blending it to meet at the armhole curve. Then from the 1 inch, which is for the shoulder strap, I'm just going to roll a straight line downward. Coming to this part here, I'm going to measure the distance between the underbust and the waistline. I have 3 inches here. I'm going to divide that by 2 and mark 1.5 inch here. I'll also mark at this area and connect the points. From the waistline up, I'll also measure 1.5 inches. After marking down my 1.5 inches, I'm going to roll a straight line. I'm going to pass the paper underneath this one that I'm working on. Then I'm going to use my tracing wheel to trace out this 1.5 inches that I marked down and the 1.5 inches that I marked upward. After tracing this out on the paper, I'll go ahead and cut out the traced area. While I was doing this, I didn't know my camera stopped rolling, so I had to bring back all the pieces together to explain. This is the cutout area that I just traced. So I have this place over the main bodice, so you see what it looks like. Next, I went ahead to add my seam allowance to this pattern and also marked these areas and labeled them AB. I highlighted the strap area and labeled this X, which stands for the strap. Then from the center of the circle, I went down to the underbust line. I just drew the straight line like so. I'll go ahead and draw diagonal lines on all the dart areas. This is one dart, this is another, and here is another. So I'm just going to close the bust darts like this. I'm going to pin these down in place. I will need to close up other darts by transferring them. And for me to do that, I'll have to cut this up. Then I'll go ahead and open one side of these darts close to the midpoint of the circle. Then I will close it up. After securing this down, I'm going to reconnect the strap line. Then I'll proceed to opening these other darts. I'll close it up, secure it in place as well. Then I'm going to redraw this line. After redrawing, I'll go ahead and highlight. Then at the side here, I'll also redraw this line. Then highlight the areas. Thereafter, I'll go ahead and cut. But at this region, I'll also mark this. The reason I'm doing this is because I'm going to be notching these areas that I labeled and marked onto my fabric. So that is why I am doing this, so that I know the areas that I need to notch. Next, I'm going to bring in a new paper and I'll place my pattern on the new paper like this. Because of the twist, the reason we are doing all of this is for us to achieve the twist. After laying down my pattern, I'm going to secure this pattern onto the new paper so it doesn't move. Next, I'll bring in this one. See the way it is placed. I will just gently move it into the plain paper like this. Next, I'm going to measure 1/2 inch downward from the tip of this pattern. Then I'm going to place this onto the area that I have just marked 0.5 inch. Thereafter, I'll pin this down. Afterwards, I'll go ahead and trace out this pattern onto the new paper. After tracing, I'm going to add 0.5 inch onto the new paper. This is for the seam allowance. I won't add 0.5 inch to the areas that already have seam allowance. So now that this is done, I will just go ahead and cut out this pattern. So guys, if you have watched to this point and you have not subscribed to my channel, you have not liked this video, kindly hit the like button, subscribe to my channel, and share this video to those that will be interested in watching this tutorial. If you want to get notified whenever I post new tutorials, do turn your notification bell on. We are done with this pattern. I'll just go ahead and remove my pins, and this one is the one we will be using, and this is the one I traced out, and that is the down part. Next is the drafting of the back pattern. I'm going to rule my starting point line of 0.5 inch. After ruling this line, I'm going to measure out all the horizontal lines. Back pattern here, I'm going to measure from the starting point, the waistline. For the front, I made use of 16 inches, but for the back, I'm making use of 14 inches because I've used up 2 inches for the bust dart. At the end of this drafting, you'll discover both sides would match up. After marking the waistline, I'll proceed to marking the hip line, then the under boot line. And I'll go ahead and draw straight lines over these marked areas. At the center back here, I'm going to mark 1 inch for the zipper allowance. I'm just going to mark this all the way from the top to the bottom. After marking, I'll proceed to connecting all these points together. Next is the drafting of the back neckline. For the neck width, I'm making use of 3 inches. For the neck depth, I'm making use of 1 inch. So I'm going to connect neck width to meet with neck depth. Then on this starting line, I'm going to take the half shoulder width measurement. I'll mark that down and come down by 1 inch for the shoulder slope. From this slope, I'll connect to meet with the neckline. Then I'm going to measure out 4 inches on this slanted line. Then I'll mark down that area. From there, I'm going to come downward by 7 inches. Then from the center back, I will also mark the half shoulder width, then connect these points to give me my armhole depth line. Then I'm going to take this measurement here from the starting point line, and I'm going to mark down my results there. Then I'll go ahead and connect this point. This is called the chest line. And from the zipper line, I will go out by 1 inch. So I'll quickly label these under boot line, hip line, waistline, and chest line. On the waistline here, I will also go out by 1 inch. Then I'm going to draw a curve connecting the waistline 1 inch to meet at the hip line, then to the 1 inch at the under boot line. So what we have just done here is we have just contoured this gown. Then from the waistline, I'm going to just draw a straight line to meet with the zipper line at the center back. Now that this is done, I'll go ahead and redraw the zipper line. So I already have the 1 inch there, so I'm going to connect from that 1 inch to the center back like so. I'll flip my curve ruler and do the same here. Once I'm done with this side, I'm going to get in my straight ruler and connect upward. So this new line is now our zipper line. As you can see, our zipper allowance is not a straight one anymore, rather it's a curved one. So this will help eliminate zip bulge. On the chest line, I'm going to mark the quarter bust measurement and add my seam allowance to it. I'll do the same for the waistline and at the hip line as well, and add my seam allowance, then at the under boot area also. I'll divide the armhole depth line by 2. I'll mark the midpoint. After marking the midpoint, I'll go in by 0.5 inch. Then I'm going to use my curve ruler to connect to get my armhole curve. After connecting that, I'll go ahead and also connect the sides. So I just label this back. This is the back pattern. Then from the side of the shoulder here, I'm going to go in by 1 inch. Just so you understand, we are not working with the curved line. The curved line is just there for the basic block. We are working with the straight line since the strap is a straight one. So from the straight line, I'm going to measure inward 1 inch and I'm going to connect down. So we have our strap here. Next, I'll go ahead and cut my pattern out, and this is what we have here. I'll bring in my strap and highlight the position of the strap onto the paper. I'll also do the same for the front part. I'll bring in the strap and highlight the position of the strap. So when I transfer this to my fabric, I'm going to notch these areas on the fabric. So this is how the front strap should look on the main dress. And I have 4 pieces for the front pattern. For the back, I have just 2. We are done with the drafting of this dress. Thank you so much for watching, and see you in the sewing process.